Hello and welcome back to Rugby Rodeo. I am Emma Swords and I'm with my friend and teammate Sara Svoboda, where you will find us reeling from what an unbelievable opening round of the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025.
Such an exciting opening night. A bunch of us had games the next day, but that didn't stop us from getting in front of the TV, watching Anne-Marie open. Just an electric game. I think looking around on the TV and looking around when they panned around the stadium, you could just feel the excitement. And then Ellie made a great statement after the game, like, fans, you guys made it. And then the girls that did the work on the field made it for us that love to watch rugby. So can't wait to get into it. Really excited.
I just want to echo on the Anne-Marie bit because we are now attracting not just rugby fans to watch these games, how important it is now to have like pop stars involved. She's wearing something very much rugby, sporty, and I just think it's starting to really filter into different industries. The Rugby World Cup in itself is filtering into those different industries. And if there's one way to make the game grow, it's get an unbelievable pop star up there and celebrating women's rugby.
Especially someone like her. Like, I always associate her with just such fun energy, such a bubbly personality, and personality is the one thing we're trying to forward with the women's game, and she's got loads of it, so it was so cool to see her.
To then open to record-breaking crowds, record-breaking streams. We're talking 2.4 million people have tuned into the BBC to watch the opening of that game.
Incredible. And then we see another 600,000 on the iPlayer. And when I was looking up the attendance from the last World Cup final, I got my little calculator out on the train today, and there's 144 more people at this opening game than the final of the 2022 Women's Rugby World Cup. And that's in another rugby-centric nation, New Zealand. So that's so exciting to see everybody show up in such a big way in the North as well.
Yeah.
Not a place that we typically associate Union with as much, but so exciting to see that stadium really light up.
I'm sure Sunderland was rocking and rolling after that.
It definitely looked it.
So we're obviously going to start with the opener and just go through the game, I guess, with some of the biggest stars in sports, not just women's sport, not just rugby. We have the likes of Ellie Kildan, Jess Breach, Ilona Maher gracing the field, and I think everyone will definitely agree that it was an entertaining fixture to watch as a first game.
For sure. I think having those names that you drop there and then a couple up-and-comers from the States as well has been so exciting to put those two teams on that opening night. No lack of personalities across the board on those two teams. Such a fun matchup to see. I think we can get into it, but I think, the first 30 might have been a little bit slower of a start than we're typically used to seeing with the Red Roses bowling teams over with a couple tries early on. I think they kept us waiting a little bit for that first 10, but what were your thoughts around on how it got underway?
Well, I think USA came out and they were relatively clinical, to be fair. They kept ball and they just kept going at England. The first 10 minutes, I thought, hang on a second. There was some, I know a lot of people did mention things like kickoff receipts, like it was fumbled a lot. But I think when you start a game with ball hitting floor before anything else, it just unsettles people. And I think USA were like, right, if we've unsettled England the tiniest bit right now, let's try and really go after it. So, and I do think they did that, it was relatively quick ball. They just kept ball in play and they moved themselves up the pitch. They weren't just playing, which I think a few people would have thought just in their 22. So, in a whole, I thought they actually did give England a good start.
Definitely.
But obviously we've spoken about this before, the depth just of England. And once they get into their groove, they're so structurally sound, defensively, so structurally so systematically sound.
I agree, and I think what the States understands that they can pick up on is they have a lot of like emotional energy out there when they play. Yes. They have like the Ilona Mahers, they have Hallie Tafu, who unfortunately was out with an injury, but she's usually someone that's clapping at the back of a breakdown, having those big come on, even though she's the quietest gal outside of rugby. We have actually an English but American-born Georgie Paris-Redding, or has a family member.
She's that firecracker.
Yeah, if you're across the scrum from her, you're like, oh, okay, here we go. And I think she potentially was out early with a head knock or something, so they missed
her concussion was bad.
energy.
Bad. Like she was on pitch for a little while and sat up. And I was speaking with Jenny Cronish. I met up with her. She missed out on World Cup this year, but by all accounts, like Georgie was not feeling too great on pitch. So let's hope she is okay. But obviously heads are not something to mess around with, but a massive energy to miss from that team. Yeah,
she's such a momentum player. She's going to be that like menacing back row that's, yapping at your heels and firing up her front row like Hope Rogers and all those girls. So she's missed, and hopefully all's okay with her head, and kind of comes back to that conversation in the first week of those mouth guards. Hopefully that's something that was picked up. So they grew in confidence really. The States, we can come on to it later as well, but had a really interesting try through a lock, which we love to see, lock on the loose. But England really grew in confidence once, you're right, I think they were able to handle the kickoffs and kind of settle into the game. But I think for people watching, players, any rugby fans, like it is humbling to see like, okay, even teams at the top like have a little bit of those nerves and you have to settle in, because it is such an environment, and these girls do play in front of so many fans in these international fixtures, but like a home World Cup kicking off at night, first game of the tournament, like there's going to be some jitters. Yeah, for sure. And I don't think we can ignore the fact that you spoke about a second row getting that little breakaway try for USA, like outpacing some of the fastest players in the game. But apparently she's like up there with second fastest in the USA team. So impressive. Now that you say that, I'm like, that adds up. She burst away. She like saw the try line and said, I'm not doing anything else other than putting my head down. And her celebration was just like so wholesome. She was like in true USA, like, yeah. I love when you can see that energy and just the excitement of like, let's go. Like, the team can rally around you, and just it's that capturing of momentum in that one split second that then just puts your team on the front foot. So love to see that. We love a lock and open play doing what they can do. They're more than just a line out meathead. They can get a lot of things done around the park, and great for her. But I guess another kind of standout or impressive player for me was, I think, Alex Matthews. I think you could say like every game she, not even quietly, just gets through a lot of work. But I think in this game especially, she's just so powerful off the back of the scrum, throws her head into every tackle, and then like super nifty with ball in hand as well. What were your kind of thoughts about her performance? Well, she's just, like you said, obviously she's got such a great background in sevens. She was actually one of like, when I was 13, 14, starting at London Irish, she was like the name at the time coming through. She would have only been like 16, 17 herself. And she has always been that caliber of player, like just unbelievably athletic. They used to take the mick out of how she ran. Like, I don't know whether they just call her like a ferret or something like that. I just remember, maybe that's just like a bit of a vivid imagination, but she has always been that way. She's been aloof, incredibly strong, very, very skillful. And you're right, getting her off the back of a scrum just opens play up for the likes of Tatiana Hurd or Meg Jones to get into the play, because there's so much focus. You just cannot not defend her. You have to stay on her, and I think that is just such a skill set to have at the base of a scrum or any sort of outward play of line out or anything like that. She's just such a threat to have to defend. She really is. And like pound for pound, you look at her and you wouldn't expect her to probably weigh too much, but like what she has, she's like throwing around very solidly. Like you can tell she's someone that probably puts up great numbers in the gym and just is such a power athlete. So really, really cool to see her carrying off the back. And she was involved in a try that really stood out for me. I'll let you pick yours, but for me, I think a try that really stood out was the girls not quite exiting from their 22, but they were deep enough in their own half. And you always have great things to say about Zoe's distribution, and that's kind of where it started. I think it was like a pull out the back of a forward shape. Zoe hits a really nice ball to Meg. Meg's obviously going to be clinical in that pass to, who is it next? I think, Alex Matthews again. So incredible to see her in open play. And then to Ellie, to Dow, to Ellie. What did you think of that try? I thought it was so cool just to see them outpace USA on the edge. And we know USA has some great back three, but they weren't really a match for what that group of girls cooked up. No. Well, that's just like England's like total standard, isn't it? Every player
in that line of getting that try, can distribute, do it at pace. And I did think that like the ball in play for those girls, when they execute and they just see that space, they're so good at capitalizing on it. You know, like at the end of the day, if you get the ball into Ellie's hands, and I say this with Ellie in particular, the way she can bounce around, and even if that space is there for that split second, she just makes it so much bigger because you can't wait off Ellie. You have to just meet her then and there. Otherwise, she'll just take, she makes this, it's like, is it Moses with the water?
Oh, like parted.
It's like she just parts, she's like, yeah, like just a little bit more space, please. Obviously, I'm creating this. But then she'll just make something unbelievable happen. And I think get the ball into Ellie's hand in any sort of space, she's able to distribute. And then you've got the likes of like Abby Dow or Jess Breach on the end of that. And it's like, try time. I don't think there's many back threes / tens that can either defend that or cope with that kind of threat, particularly in that line of space.
Yeah, she'll see like the slightest turn of a hip and she's like, that's
enough, thanks.
That's a tiny little window and I'm going to be pushing through it.
Yeah.
And just her ability to spot that. And then you're right, when she has Abby Dow outside of her, she's probably not sweating too much. And yeah, I think whoever was commentating was like, I think Abby even could have scored that herself. And it's just like, that shows that, everyone's just world class in that back line. Like maybe, a little show and go she's in for like herself, but a nice selfless play to put Ellie in closer to the sticks.
My try for England, it was a nice little insert from Sara. So line out, she's in, fake drive, comes out, and then Tatiana had just made this unbelievable break. It was a great seam, great line that she made. She made a lot of meters on it, quick breakdown. I think it was Sarah Byrne, then straight off the Mo to Sarah Byrne. And then it was just a matter of like feeding through. Zoe put a fantastic miss pass through. And then Ellie just like so coolly, ball in hand, and then just shoves it off, lifts to Jess. And then it's like, well, let's see your celebration then, girls. Let's see the Cowboys do their thing. But that was just, again, an unbelievably executed try from England. Everything's so clinical, and that vision to just flash it, again, get it into the fastest, most creative players in the world hands, and then it's very hard to defend when that's on your try line.
So huge result, big score, lots of tries run in. Sights are on this second round where they have Samoa. They obviously just suffered a big loss to Australia, 73-0. Expectation to see a pretty heavily rotated side?
I would say so. I think, look at like in any sort of World Cup, you want to preserve your players, your starters, and so on. That is just the way of which a World Cup works, and any sort of tournament. But it also gives, girls who have been grinding away as well in World Cup training camps a time to shine. They do need minutes in their legs as well, and to work within that unit. And I think you will see the likes of hopefully May Campbell get a good run out. Emma Singh, hopefully, she's a fantastic player in herself, and to have her on the pitch against USA was so nice to see. She's been a great young talent that's been coming through for years in the Premiership. So just more minutes in people's legs that might not necessarily get that maybe further on or into the bigger games, or planned anyway. You never know, like things do happen, injury happens, and you do need these players.
It's such a cliche, but like this is really an opportunity for players to grab shirts, put their hand up. Like it only takes one amazing performance for a coach to turn their head and be like, okay, like I can see this.
I cannot ignore you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love when coaches say like, make it impossible for me not to pick you kind of thing. Like I love when coaches put that on you. They're like, I don't care who you are, what your name is. Like obviously they have all, the facts and figures and stats are ridiculous these days. But if you have an amazing showing, like a tournament like this is where you have to play, like who's hot, like who's looking good. Like I think sometimes I talk to people that are frustrated. They're like, she was so hot. Like she's on her game. Like why are coaches relying on like how somebody looked however many games ago? Like play who you've got that's looking good now. So I think that's a super exciting opportunity for some of those girls. And I'll even throw like Kelsey Clifford. I think every time she's come on the field, I'm like, this girl's got her head taped up. She's throwing her body around. She is making those little half breaks that we see. Like, well, Sarah usually makes full breaks, Sarah Byrne, but we'll see like Akin Davis or our other front row making these little half gaps, and Kelsey's like, no, I can do that too.
Yeah, she's a fantastic ball carrier. Like you've seen her all year throughout this premiership. Line breaks, unbelievable tries that she scored as well. Just single man tries. Like she has just grown into her whole skill set. I remember when she first came through as a 17-year-old at Saracens, she's so quiet and just she is. I've been around the block. All right, sorry, mum. But she, she is just such a sweet girl. To see her just really step up and own an England shirt is just so nice to see.